What if I told you that the real reason you keep losing money in the markets has nothing to do with your strategy? It has nothing to do with your indicators, and it has nothing to do with discipline. In fact, chasing discipline might be the very thing that is destroying your account. Think about it. You already know the rules. You know not to revenge trade. You know not to move your stop loss. You know not to jump into a position out of FOMO. Yet time after time, you break your own rules and you watch your account bleed. If discipline were really the answer, then why are so many smart traders still blowing up accounts? Why do people with years of experience still repeat the same painful mistakes? Here is the truth. The problem is not your lack of discipline. The problem is not your strategy. The problem is your identity. Right now, you are not losing to the market. You are losing to the person you become when you sit in front of the screen. And until you face that hidden trader, you will continue to sabotage yourself over and over again. This video is not another motivational speech. This is not about willpower or positive thinking. What I am about to share with you is a $2 million lesson. A lesson that almost cost me everything. Stay with me until the very end, because once you see the truth behind your failures, you will never look at trading the same way again. By the end of this video, you will finally understand who is really trading your account, and that realization could change your entire future. Section 1. The $2 million lie and why discipline is the problem. Let me start with a confession. I lost $2 million in the markets before I learned the lesson I'm about to share with you. $2 million. Not because I didn't know how to trade, not because I didn't have a strategy, but because I believed one of the biggest lies in trading. The lie that discipline is the answer. For years, I punished myself for every mistake. I thought if I could just be more disciplined, if I could just force myself to follow my rules, then I would finally break through. I bought every book, I took every course, and every mentor told me the same thing. You need more discipline. So I tried. I journaled every trade. I repeated affirmations before the market opened. I even wrote sticky notes and plastered them on my walls. Stay disciplined, follow the rules, don't break. But none of it worked. Because here's the truth. Discipline is not the problem, and discipline will never be the solution. Let me explain. Imagine you are holding a beach ball underwater. You can push it down with all your strength, but eventually it pops back up. That is what discipline feels like in trading. You can suppress your impulses for a while, but sooner or later, they explode. And when they do, the damage is far worse. That's when you revenge trade. That's when you double down. That's when you blow up your account in one afternoon. So here's the million-dollar question. If it is not discipline, then what is it? Why do traders who know better still sabotage themselves? The answer is identity. The person you become when you sit in front of the charts is not the same person who reads trading books at night. It is not the same person who plans their strategy on the weekend. In the heat of the moment, you transform into a different trader, and that hidden identity is the one making your decisions. This is why no amount of discipline works, because discipline is trying to fight the wrong enemy. You think you are battling your emotions, but really you are battling a version of yourself that has been shaped by years of fear, trauma, and survival instincts. This is why I lost $2 million, because I thought discipline would save me, when in reality, it was keeping me blind to the real problem. In the next section, I will show you how this hidden trader takes over your account. I call it the psychology of self-sabotage. And once you recognize it, you will see exactly why you keep making the same mistakes even when you know the rules.
Section 2. The Suicide Trade and the Psychology of Self-Sabotage. Every trader has a story about what I call the suicide trade. That one trade that didn't just hurt their account, It almost destroyed them. Maybe you know exactly what I'm talking about. You take a loss, your emotions flare up, and before you even realize what you're doing, you double your position, you add more size, you move your stop loss farther and farther away, telling yourself it will come back, it has to. But it doesn't. And suddenly, what started as a small mistake turns into a catastrophic blow-up. I know this pain too well. For me, the suicide trade wasn't just one moment, it was a pattern. I'd swear to myself that I wouldn't do it again. I'd promise that next time I'd stay calm. But then the market would trigger me, and it was like someone else had taken over my body. My finger would click the mouse before my brain even caught up. And that's the brutal truth. Suicide trades are not logical. They are not rational. They are not even about the market. They are about your psychology. Think about it. In those moments, you're not following your trading plan. You're not following your strategy. You're not even following your conscious mind. You are acting out of a deep survival mechanism, one that comes from the most primitive part of your brain. Neuroscientists call it the reptilian brain. It's the part of you wired for fight or flight. When that part of your brain gets hijacked, your higher thinking shuts down. The careful, rational trader inside you disappears, and what's left is pure impulse. That's why, even though you know better, you still pull the trigger on self-destructive trades. Here's the scary part. Most traders beat themselves up for these mistakes. They call themselves stupid. They say, I just need to be more disciplined. But as we already uncovered, discipline can't solve this because discipline only addresses the surface behavior, not the root cause. The root cause is self-sabotage. And self-sabotage always comes from a deeper story. For some traders, it's the fear of missing out. They hate the idea of watching a move happen without them. For others, it's the need to prove themselves. They feel worthless when they take a loss, so they chase a win to feel whole again. And for many, it's trauma. Maybe you grew up with scarcity around money. Maybe you watched your parents fight about bills. Maybe you were taught that making money was tied to your value as a person. When those beliefs are buried deep inside you, they come alive during moments of stress. That is why the suicide trade feels so powerful. You're not just fighting the market, you're fighting your entire identity. And here's the kicker. The more you try to suppress it, the stronger it gets. Every time you say, never again, without understanding why you did it in the first place, you make the shadow inside you grow louder. So what's the way out? The first step is awareness. You have to recognize that the suicide trade is not a mistake in your strategy. It's a mirror. It's reflecting back to you the parts of yourself that you have not yet faced. When you blow up a trade, don't just ask, what did I do wrong on the chart? Ask, what part of me was trading in that moment? Was it fear? Was it pride? Was it desperation? Because until you identify the trader inside you, you'll keep handing your account over to them. The market is the most unforgiving mirror you will ever face. It exposes your fears, it exposes your wounds, it exposes your deepest insecurities. And that's why trading is so hard. It's not because the charts are complicated, it's because the charts reflect you. The suicide trade is not the end of your career. It can be the beginning of your transformation, but only if you are willing to face the truth that self-sabotage is not a failure of discipline. It is a cry for identity change. In the next section, I'll show you how there are not just one, but three traders living inside you. And once you understand them, you'll see exactly why you keep getting hijacked in the heat of the moment, and how finally to take back control. Section 3. The three traders inside you and the reptilian brain hijack. By now, you've seen how the suicide trade isn't just a mistake, It's self-sabotage driven by something deeper. But here's where it gets even more interesting. You're not just one trader. You're actually three. And every time you sit in front of the charts, these three versions of you are battling for control. The first one is the rational trader. This is the version of you who studies, who builds strategies, who journals trades. It's the calm, logical planner that sets risk management rules and promises to stick to them. This is the trader you believe you are most of the time. But then comes the emotional trader. This one is fueled by fear and greed. It's the voice that says, "Don't miss out. Double your size. Hold on a little longer. It will come back." The emotional trader hates losses. It needs validation. It wants comfort. And it shows up the moment the market moves against you. And then there's the most dangerous one, the shadow trader. This is the version of you that you don't even realize is controlling your account. The shadow trader is born from your past, your childhood money trauma, your need for self-worth, your unresolved fears. When this one takes over, you're not trading the market anymore. You're trading your pain. Here's the catch. When pressure hits, it's not the rational trader who has control. It's your reptilian brain. That ancient survival system hijacks your thinking. Logic shuts down. Fight or flight takes over. That's when the shadow trader slips behind the wheel. And once it does, you can blow through years of progress in a single day. This is why you keep repeating mistakes, even though you know better. Because in those moments, you're not the rational trader. You've been hijacked by the emotional and shadow trader. The solution is not to fight them with more discipline. That only strengthens their grip. The solution is to bring them into the light, to recognize when each one is speaking, and to train yourself to pause before they act. Think about it like this. The market doesn't just reveal your skills. It reveals which version of you is running the show. The charts are not your opponent. They're a mirror showing you whether your rational self, your emotional self, or your shadow self is in control. When you finally see this, the game changes. You stop asking, "Why can't I follow my rules?" Instead, you ask, "Which trader just hijacked me?" That question is the first step to breaking free. Because once you know who is trading your account, you can begin the work of rewiring your brain and reclaiming control. In the next section, we'll talk about why even winners eventually go broke, and the surprising protocol that humbles your brain before the market humbles your account.
Section 4. Why Winners Go Broke and the Humility Protocol. Here's something most traders don't want to admit. Winning can be more dangerous than losing. Sounds crazy, right? After all, we all want to win. We chase profits. We celebrate green days. But if you've traded long enough, you know the truth. The most dangerous moment in your career is not after a loss. It's right after a big win. Why? Because winning breeds overconfidence, and overconfidence kills traders. Let me give you an example. A trader builds consistency for weeks, small wins, steady progress. Then one day, they catch the perfect trade. They hit it big. Suddenly, their account is up more in one day than it was in the last month. The dopamine rush floods their brain. They feel unstoppable. And that's when it happens. The rational trader steps aside, and the emotional trader takes the wheel. The thought creeps in, if I can make this much in one day, why not do it again tomorrow? Position sizes creep up. Risk tolerance expands. The rules that kept them safe feel unnecessary. And within days, that same trader can wipe out weeks or months of progress. I call this the winner's curse, because the very success you prayed for becomes the seed of your destruction. This is where humility comes in, not as a motivational concept, but as a psychological protocol. Humility is the anchor that keeps you grounded when your brain wants to fly away. So how do you build it? The humility protocol is simple but powerful. After every win, big or small, you stop, you pause, and you remind yourself, this win does not make me invincible. This win does not change who I am. This win is just feedback from the market, nothing more. Then you deliberately reduce size on your next trade. Yes, reduce. Even if you feel confident, especially if you feel confident. By lowering size, you train your brain to detach from the high of winning. You teach yourself to stay consistent rather than chasing bigger highs. Humility also means remembering that the market owes you nothing. The market is not your friend. It is not your enemy. It does not care about your wins or losses. It simply reflects your behavior back to you. If you don't practice humility, the market will humble you. And trust me, the market's version of humility hurts a lot more than the discipline of humbling yourself. Winning is not the goal. Survival is. Longevity is. Because only when you survive long enough do the wins compound into something meaningful. So the next time you score a big win, don't celebrate by increasing your size. Celebrate by grounding yourself. Celebrate by practicing humility. That's how you keep your edge. In the next section, I'll reveal the addiction no one talks about in trading, an addiction more powerful than money itself, and I'll share the protocol that frees you from it before it destroys your career.
Section 5. The addiction no one discusses and the dopamine detox protocol. When people think about trading addictions, they usually think about money. They imagine traders addicted to profits, addicted to chasing the big win. But the truth is far deeper. Most traders are not addicted to money. They are addicted to dopamine. Dopamine is the brain's reward chemical. It fires when you win, when you anticipate winning, and even when you just click the button to enter a trade. That little spike of excitement, that rush you feel when you open a position, that's dopamine at work. And here's the dangerous part. Dopamine doesn't care if you make money or lose money. It only cares about the thrill of anticipation. That means even losing traders can be hooked. They keep coming back, not because they love the pain of loss, but because they crave the emotional roller coaster. They crave the rush. The truth is, for many traders, the market is just a casino with better lighting. Think about your own habits. Have you ever opened a trade not because it was part of your setup, but just because you were bored? Have you ever chased volatility just to feel alive again? That's not strategy. That's dopamine hijacking your brain. And here's the brutal reality. As long as you're addicted to dopamine, you can't build consistency because your brain will trick you into sabotaging your own rules just to get its next chemical hit. So what's the way out? You can't quit dopamine. It's part of being human. But you can reset your relationship with it. That's where the dopamine detox protocol comes in. The dopamine detox is not about quitting trading. It's about rewiring your brain so you stop chasing highs and start respecting the process. Here's how it works. First, you need awareness. Start tracking not just your trades, but your urges. Notice when you feel the itch to enter a position for no reason. Notice when you refresh your chart every 5 seconds, hunting for movement. Those are dopamine cravings, not strategy. Second, you need boundaries. Give yourself defined trading hours, and outside those hours, stay off the charts. Dopamine thrives on constant stimulation. By cutting off that constant drip, you begin to regain control. Third, you replace empty dopamine spikes with grounded habits. After the trading session, instead of scrolling through markets or news feeds, do something that builds discipline without stimulation. Reading, journaling, walking, meditation. These activities reset your brain's sensitivity to dopamine
So you stop needing massive spikes just to feel normal. Finally, celebrate boredom. This might sound strange, but boredom is a trader's best friend because boredom is the state in which discipline and patience live. When you learn to sit still, to wait for your setup without forcing action, you are breaking free from dopamine slavery. Here's the truth. The greatest traders are not thrill seekers. They are the calmest people in the room. They don't chase dopamine highs. They wait, they observe, and when they act with clarity, not craving. The dopamine detox is not easy. At first, it feels uncomfortable. You'll crave the rush. You'll want to check the charts, refresh the screen, place that random trade. But every time you resist, you are rewiring your brain to respect consistency over chaos. And that's the shift that separates gamblers from professionals. Because the market doesn't reward adrenaline, it rewards patience. It rewards discipline, rooted in identity, not in chemicals. In the next section, we'll go even deeper. We'll talk about money trauma, how the beliefs you inherited about money from your past may be sabotaging your present, and more importantly, how to finally break free from it.
Section 6. Money Trauma and the Ancestral Healing Trade. Most traders think they're fighting the market, but the truth is, you're fighting your past. Let me explain. Every one of us grew up with a money story. Maybe your parents argued about bills. Maybe you heard phrases like, money doesn't grow on trees, or rich people are greedy. Maybe you watched your family struggle, living paycheck to paycheck. Or maybe you saw the opposite, a parent who took reckless risks and lost everything. Those stories don't just disappear, they get stored inside of you. They become beliefs, and those beliefs come alive every time you sit down to trade. This is what I call money trauma. It's not always dramatic. Sometimes it's subtle, but it runs deep, and unless you heal it, it will sabotage your trading again and again. Think about it. If deep down you believe money is scarce, you'll grab it every opportunity, terrified of missing out. If you believe money is dangerous, you'll panic out of good trades the moment they move against you. If you believe you're not worthy of wealth, you'll sabotage your wins, giving back profits just to return to the level you subconsciously feel you deserve. I'll give you a personal example. When I was a kid, my family went through a period where money was tight. I remember watching my parents argue at the dinner table about bills. I remember the anxiety that filled the room. Years later, as a trader, every time I lost money, that same anxiety came flooding back. It wasn't just a trading loss, it was me reliving the same helpless feeling from childhood. And so I overtraded. I chased wins. I couldn't sit still because my brain was screaming, if you don't fix this now, disaster is coming. That wasn't strategy. That was trauma. And here's the truth most people never face. You are not just trading your account. You are trading your family's history with money. So how do you break free? That's where what I call the ancestral healing trade comes in. It's not about one setup or one position. It's about making a conscious decision to stop trading from fear and start trading from a place of healing. Here's a simple exercise. The next time you feel panic or urgency while trading, pause. Step back from the screen. Ask yourself, whose voice am I hearing right now? Is it your father's voice saying money is scarce? Is it your mother's voice worrying about security? Is it your own voice from the past afraid of repeating mistakes? By identifying the source, you break the trance. You realize you're not reacting to the market, you're reacting to an old story. And once you see it, you can choose differently. The healing trade is not about chasing profits. It's about rewriting your relationship with money. Every time you choose patience instead of panic, you are healing. Every time you stick to your plan instead of chasing a loss, you are healing. Every time you accept a small loss with grace instead of rage, you are healing. And as you heal, your trading transforms because the market stops being a battlefield and becomes a mirror that shows you not who you were, but who you are becoming. Money trauma is real, but it doesn't have to define you. You can break the cycle. You can become the first in your line to build wealth from a place of calm and abundance instead of fear and survival. In the next section, we'll face another truth almost no one talks about. Trading is one of the loneliest paths you can walk, and that loneliness can destroy your career if you don't address it. But there is a cure, and it's simpler than you think.
Section 7. The Loneliness of the Trader and the Connection Cure. Trading is one of the loneliest games in the world. Think about it. You sit in front of a screen for hours, staring at candles move up and down. There's no boss to guide you, no coworkers to share coffee breaks with, no one cheering for you when you win, and no one catching you when you lose. On the outside, your friends and family probably don't even understand what you do. To them, it looks like gambling. They don't feel the discipline it takes to wait for a setup. They don't understand the pain of a stop loss getting hit by 1 pip before the market rips in your direction. So instead of support, you get judgment, confusion, or silence. And inside, that loneliness eats at you. Because when there's no one to share the journey with, every win feels empty and every loss feels heavier. You carry it all by yourself. I know this firsthand. After one of my worst trading streaks, I lost more than money. I lost myself. I isolated. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I shut people out because I didn't want them to see me fail. And the more isolated I became, the more reckless my trading got. It was a vicious cycle. Here's the truth. Loneliness is not just emotional, it's biological. Human beings are wired for connection. When we feel isolated, our stress hormones spike. Cortisol floods the body, and in that state, your brain literally cannot think clearly. No wonder isolated traders make desperate, impulsive decisions. So what's the solution? I call it the connection cure. It starts with admitting that you cannot do this journey alone. The lone wolf trader is a myth. Even the best hedge fund managers have teams, coaches, and accountability partners. You need people who understand your world, people who know the ups and downs, people who won't laugh when you talk about slippage or FOMO. That might mean joining a trading community, not one of those fake signal groups where everyone brags about wins. I'm talking about real, grounded communities where traders share struggles as openly as successes. It could also mean finding a trading buddy, one person you check in with weekly. You share your plans before the market opens and your reflections after it closes. Just knowing someone else is walking the road with you makes the burden lighter. And if you can't find someone yet, start by connecting outside of trading. Spend time with family, talk with friends, volunteer. The goal is to break the isolation, because the healthier you are socially, the sharper your mind will be when you trade. The connection cure is not optional, it's essential. Because if you don't cure your loneliness, the market will become your only relationship. And the market is a terrible companion. It's cold, it's ruthless, it gives nothing back. But when you have real human connection, something shifts. Losses don't sting as much because you're not carrying them alone. Wins feel richer because you can share them. And most importantly, your brain and body finally relax. You can trade from clarity instead of desperation. So don't wait. Find your people. Build your circle. That's how you protect yourself from the silent killer of trading, isolation. In the next section, we'll uncover another hidden enemy. It's not fear. It's not greed. It's imposter syndrome. The quiet belief that you don't deserve success. And I'll show you the worthiness ritual that shatters it.
Section 8. the success imposter syndrome and the worthiness ritual. Here's a truth most traders will never admit out loud. Sometimes the fear isn't of failure. The fear is of success. Strange, right? But think about it. How many times have you finally had a winning streak only to sabotage it? How many times have you built your account, then given it all back in one reckless week? That's not an accident. That's imposter syndrome at work. Imposter syndrome is the belief that you don't truly deserve your success, that your wins are luck, that at any moment someone will find out you're a fraud. And when you carry that belief into trading, it becomes poison. Here's how it plays out. You stack up some wins. Your account grows. You should feel proud. But deep down, a voice whispers, "This isn't really you. This won't last. You don't deserve this." And instead of protecting your progress, you unconsciously destroy it. You revenge trade. You over-leverage. You give the money back just to return to the comfort of struggle. I know this because I lived it. After my first truly profitable month, I couldn't even celebrate. I felt uneasy, like I was waiting for the other shoe to drop. And sure enough, the next week I sabotaged myself. I made reckless trades, ignored my plan, and gave back everything I had earned. It wasn't the market that took it from me, it was me. Because deep down, I didn't believe I was worthy of keeping it. Here's the truth. Trading is not just about strategy. It's about identity. And if your identity says, "I'm not good enough," no strategy in the world can save you. So how do you break free? You rewire your sense of worth, and that's where the worthiness ritual comes in. The worthiness ritual is simple but powerful. Before every trading session, you take 2 minutes, close your eyes, breathe, and repeat this truth to yourself. I am worthy of success that lasts. I am worthy of wealth that grows. I am worthy of building the future I desire. Now, this isn't about magic words. It's about training your nervous system, because every time you affirm your worth, you're teaching your brain that success is not a threat, that success is safe, that success is yours to keep. The second step of the ritual is reflection. After each win, instead of rushing to the next trade, pause. Write down in your journal, "I earned this by following my plan. I deserve this because I showed up with discipline and patience." By anchoring the win to your behavior, you start to build a new identity, one that sees success not as luck, but as the natural result of who you are becoming. And the third step is integration. Share your wins with someone you trust. Say them out loud. Don't hide them. The more you embody the role of a successful trader, the more natural it feels. Imposter syndrome thrives in the shadows, but once you face it, once you declare your worth, it loses its grip. So remember this, you are not just worthy of surviving in the markets. You are worthy of thriving. You are worthy of building lasting wealth. You are worthy of freedom. And when you trade from that place, something shifts. The sabotage stops. The fear fades, and you finally give yourself permission to succeed. In the next section, we'll step into part 3 of this journey, the transcendence, and we'll start with a truth that changes everything. The market is not punishing you. The market is reflecting you. Welcome to the market mirror theory. Section 9, the market mirror theory and the physics of trading. Most traders believe the market is out to punish them. They say things like, "The market always turns against me," or "The market hates me." But here's the truth. The market doesn't care about you. It doesn't even know you exist. The market is not punishing you. The market is reflecting you. This is what I call the market mirror theory. Every decision you make in the market is a reflection of what's going on inside of you. The fear you feel when a candle moves against you, the greed you feel when you add to a winning position, the impatience that pushes you to enter early. None of those things are caused by the market. They are caused by you. The charts are just a mirror. Think about it like physics. When you look into a mirror, it doesn't invent an image. It reflects exactly what's in front of it. The market works the same way. It doesn't invent your fear, your greed, your impulsiveness. It reflects them back at you with brutal precision. That's why two traders can look at the same chart and see two completely different opportunities. One sees fear, the other sees patience. One sees risk, the other sees reward. The chart hasn't changed. What changed is the trader looking at it. The market mirror theory is powerful because it shifts responsibility. Instead of blaming the market, you start to ask better questions. Not, why did the market turn on me? But what part of me got triggered in this moment? Not, why do I keep losing? But what version of me is showing up when I trade? When you begin to see the market as a mirror, every loss becomes feedback. Every win becomes feedback. And suddenly, you stop taking trades personally. You stop spiraling after losses because you realize the market isn't attacking you. It's showing you who you are. And here's where the physics comes in. In physics, we know energy cannot be destroyed. It only changes form. The same is true with trading psychology. Fear doesn't disappear because you push it down. It transforms. It becomes hesitation. It becomes sabotage. It becomes revenge trading. The only way to change your trading results is to change the energy you bring to the screen. If you show up with fear, the market reflects fear. If you show up with greed, the market reflects greed. But if you show up with calm, with patience, with grounded confidence, the market reflects that too. This is why the best traders often look boring. They don't chase trades. They don't panic. They sit still, waiting for alignment, because they understand that the market is only as chaotic as the state of mind they bring into it. So here's the challenge for you. The next time you trade, don't just analyze the chart. Analyze yourself. Ask, what is the market reflecting back to me right now? That single question can transform your entire relationship with trading. Because when you see the market as a mirror, it's no longer your enemy, it's your teacher. And every trade becomes a lesson in self-mastery. In the next section, we'll go even deeper. We'll talk about how to escape the money matrix, the invisible walls that keep traders trapped in fear and scarcity. And once you break free, you'll see the game in a way most traders never will.
Section 10. Escaping the money matrix and breaking the walls. Have you ever felt like no matter how hard you work, no matter how many hours you study, you keep ending up in the same place financially? Like there's an invisible wall holding you back? That's not your imagination. That's the money matrix. The money matrix is the invisible set of beliefs, habits, and fears that keep you trapped in a cycle of scarcity. It's the programming you inherited from your family, your culture, and society itself. It whispers in your ear every time you trade. It tells you, don't risk too much, you'll lose it all, or the opposite, go big or go home. It convinces you that money equals your worth, and it makes sure that no matter how much you win, you eventually find a way to give it back. This is why some traders blow up their accounts right after success, not because they don't know better, but because the matrix they live in won't allow them to hold wealth. It's like an invisible thermostat. The moment your account balance rises above the level your identity is comfortable with, you sabotage it until you return to normal. So, how do you break free? You have to see the walls for what they are, and then you have to walk through them. Here is the first wall: scarcity thinking. This is the belief that money is limited, that there's never enough. In trading, this shows up as chasing every setup, jumping into trades out of fear of missing out. To break this wall, you have to rewire your mind to see money as abundant. Opportunities are infinite. Missing one trade doesn't mean missing your chance. The second wall is fear of judgment. Many traders sabotage themselves because they're subconsciously trying to prove something to a parent, to a spouse, to friends who doubted them. The moment you attach your worth to money, you're trapped. To break this wall, you have to separate who you are from what you earn. You are worthy, win or lose. The third wall is attachment. This is the belief that money will solve all your problems. It makes you cling to every dollar. It makes you panic at every loss. But the truth is, money only amplifies who you already are. If you are anxious, more money makes you more anxious. If you are calm, more money makes you more calm. To break this wall, you must release the belief that money is your savior. It is a tool, nothing more. Breaking free from the money matrix is not easy. It feels uncomfortable because when you step outside, you leave behind everything familiar. But this is where transformation begins. Here's a simple practice. The next time you catch yourself sabotaging, pause and ask, what wall just stopped me? Was it scarcity? Was it judgment? Was it attachment? By naming the wall, you weaken its power. By choosing differently, you step outside the matrix. The market doesn't just test your strategy. It tests your freedom. Are you free from the beliefs that once ruled you? Or are you still chained by them, repeating the same cycles? The truth is, wealth is not just about money. It's about liberation. Liberation from fear. Liberation from judgment. Liberation from the matrix. And once you step out, you'll see the game differently. You'll realize the walls were never real. They were only stories. And the moment you stop believing them, they fall away. In the next section, we'll go even deeper into this transformation. We'll talk about the death of the trader, why your old self has to die before the new trader in you can be born.
Section 11. The Death of the Trader and the Ultimate Liberation. There comes a point in every trader's journey when you realize the biggest obstacle in your way is you. Not the market, not the strategy, not the news or the economy or the algos, you. And that realization is both terrifying and liberating, because it means the old version of you, the impulsive, fear-driven, ego-driven trader, cannot come with you into the future. They have to die. This is what I call the death of the trader, and it is the most painful, but also the most liberating step you will ever take. Think about it. How many times have you promised yourself you would change only to fall back into the same patterns? How many times have you said, never again, only to repeat the same mistakes? That's because you're trying to grow while still clinging to the identity of your old self, and that self does not want to let go. The death of the trader is not about quitting trading. It's about killing the identity that keeps sabotaging you. The identity built on fear, on scarcity, on ego. The identity that needs to prove itself, that needs to win every trade, that ties its worth to every tick of the market. Let me tell you the truth. That trader will never succeed. No matter how good the strategy, no matter how disciplined the plan, the old trader will always find a way to burn it all down. So the only path forward is transformation, and transformation requires death. Here's how it happens. At first, it feels like loss. You grieve the old habits. You grieve the rush of over-leveraging. You grieve the adrenaline of gambling. You even grieve the drama of blowing up, because for so long, chaos felt like home. But then something shifts. Once the old trader dies, space opens up. And in that space, a new identity can be born.
a trader who is calm, a trader who is patient, a trader who doesn't chase money because they already live from abundance. That trader doesn't need to prove anything. They don't need to fight the market. They don't need to force wins. They trade with clarity. They trade with detachment. They trade with freedom. And here's the paradox. The moment you stop clinging to money, money flows. The moment you stop needing to win, you start winning. Because the market is no longer reflecting fear or ego. It's reflecting your new identity, one that is aligned, grounded, and free. The death of the trader is not easy. It feels like ripping away a piece of yourself. But in truth, you're not losing anything real. You're losing illusions. You're losing chains. You're losing the false self that was never really you. And when that self is gone, the ultimate liberation arrives. Trading stops being a fight. It stops being a cycle of boom and bust. It becomes a practice of mastery, a mirror of growth, a game that you can finally play without fear. So ask yourself right now, which trader inside me needs to die? The gambler? The fearful child? The ego-driven warrior? Whoever it is, thank them for getting you this far, and then let them go. Because the trader you are becoming is waiting on the other side. In the next section, I'll show you how to rebuild that new identity every single morning with a simple 15-minute ritual that rewires your brain and sets you free.
Section 12. The 15-minute morning ritual that rebuilds you. When the old trader dies, something new has to take its place. But here's the challenge. Transformation isn't permanent unless you reinforce it. If you wake up every morning and step right back into old patterns, your shadow trader will return. That's why I created what I call the 15-minute morning ritual, a daily practice that rewires your brain and rebuilds the trader you want to become. 15 minutes, that's all it takes. And yet, if you do this consistently, it can transform not only your trading, but your entire life. Here's how it works. Minute 1 to 5, the breath reset. The first 5 minutes are about grounding. Sit somewhere quiet, close your eyes, and focus on your breath. Inhale slowly for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts, exhale for 4 counts. Do this over and over. What you're doing is signaling to your nervous system that you are safe. Remember, trading triggers fight or flight. If you start your day in a calm, regulated state, you anchor your brain to respond with clarity instead of panic. Minute 6 to 10, the identity script. Next, take out your journal and write, in present tense, the identity of the trader you are becoming. Not, I want to be patient. Instead, I am patient. I am disciplined. I am worthy of building lasting wealth. I trade with calm. I wait for alignment. Write it down as if it's already true. This is not fluff. This is rewiring. Neuroscience shows that the brain doesn't fully distinguish between imagined identity and current reality. Every time you write these statements, you're installing the new trader into your nervous system. Minute 11 to 13, the market visualization. Now close your eyes again. Visualize yourself trading today. Imagine the chart moving against you. Imagine the urge to react. And then imagine yourself staying calm. Imagine yourself waiting, following your plan, executing with precision. By rehearsing your ideal behavior before you trade, you make it far more likely that you'll embody it when the real test comes. Minute 14 to 15,
the gratitude anchor. Finally, write down 3 things you're grateful for, and one of them must be completely unrelated to money or trading. Gratitude shifts your brain from scarcity to abundance. When you start the day from abundance, you no longer chase trades out of desperation. You wait, you observe, you respect the process. That's it, 15 minutes. But here's the secret. It's not just about the steps. It's about consistency. Doing this ritual once won't change you. Doing it every day for 30, 60, 90 days, that's what rewires your brain. That's what kills the old trader and rebuilds the new one. And the truth is, if you can't commit 15 minutes to prepare your mind, you're not really preparing to trade. You're gambling. So tomorrow morning, before you touch a chart, before you check your phone, before you open your trading platform, do the ritual. Train your nervous system. Build your identity. Anchor yourself in abundance. Because consistency doesn't start with charts. It starts with you. In the next section, we'll explore a secret that billionaires use, a principle that allows them to trade, invest, and operate from a place of calm and abundance, while everyone else is drowning in fear and greed.
Section 13. The Billionaire's Secret. Trading from Abundance. Here's a paradox that very few traders understand. The people with the most money in the world are the ones least attached to it. Think about billionaires. They don't panic when a stock dips 5%. They don't lose sleep when a trade goes against them. They don't chase every opportunity. Why? Because they're trading from abundance, not scarcity. This is the billionaire's secret. They don't need to win every trade. They don't need to prove anything. They don't need the market to validate their worth, because they already live with the belief that there is always more opportunity, more resources, more time. Meanwhile, most retail traders do the opposite. They trade from fear. They trade as if every setup is their last chance. They panic at small losses. They over-leverage, thinking, if this trade doesn't work, I'll never recover. That's scarcity, and scarcity kills accounts. Trading from abundance doesn't mean you have to be a billionaire. It's not about your bank balance. It's about your mindset. It's about shifting from desperation to detachment. Here's what it looks like in practice. The scarcity trader sees one setup and thinks, I can't miss this. They jump in early or they oversize. The abundant trader thinks, if this setup doesn't align perfectly, that's fine. There will be another. And they wait. The scarcity trader takes a loss and spirals into self-doubt. The abundant trader takes the same loss and says, that's just one of many. My edge will play out over time. The scarcity trader feels unworthy unless they're winning. The abundant trader knows their worth has nothing to do with money. And here's the irony. The traders who need money the most usually repel it. Their fear, their desperation, their attachment leaks into every decision. But the traders who already live from abundance, even if they don't have billions, naturally attract wealth because they're aligned with patience, clarity, and confidence. So how do you start trading from abundance? It begins with awareness. Notice when you're making decisions out of fear. Notice when your inner voice says, I can't lose, I can't miss out, I can't fail. Those are scarcity signals. Then practice detachment. Before every session, remind yourself, I don't need to win today. I don't need to force anything. Opportunities are infinite. By detaching from outcome, you release the pressure that fuels sabotage. And finally, practice gratitude. Abundance is not about waiting until you're rich. It's about recognizing the wealth already in your life. The roof over your head, the skills you've built, the fact that you even have access to markets that billions of people around the world will never touch.
Gratitude shifts your state from scarcity to abundance instantly. Here's the truth. Billionaires don't trade better because they're smarter. They trade better because they're not afraid. They're not attached. They're free. And freedom is something you can claim right now. You don't need $1 billion to trade from abundance. You just need to let go of fear, release attachment, and trust that there will always be another opportunity. Because when you trade from abundance, you stop chasing, you stop forcing, and you finally align with the rhythm of the market itself. In the next section, we'll talk about something every trader must face: loss. Not just financial loss, but psychological loss. And I'll show you the post-mortem protocol, a method that allows you to process losses without destroying your confidence.
Section 14. The Postmortem Protocol to Protect Your Mind. Losses are inevitable. No matter how skilled you are, no matter how perfect your strategy, you will take losses. That's the cost of admission in trading. But here's the real danger. It's not the loss itself that destroys traders. It's what happens in their mind afterward. Most traders don't process losses. They relive them. They obsess over them. They punish themselves for them. And in doing so, they poison their confidence. Think about it. How many times have you taken a loss and then spent hours replaying it in your head? How many times have you sat there staring at the chart thinking, if only I had entered differently, if only I had held longer, if only I hadn't moved my stop? That spiral doesn't make you better, it makes you weaker. It locks you into shame, regret, and fear. That's why I developed what I call the post-mortem protocol. It's a structured way to process a trade after it's over, win or lose, so you protect your mind, extract the lesson, and move forward without emotional baggage. Here's how it works. Step 1. Record the facts. Immediately after the trade closes, write down exactly what happened. Entry price, exit price, size, stop loss. No emotions, no stories, just the facts. This is important because your brain loves to rewrite history when emotions are high. Recording the facts grounds you in reality. Step 2. Identify the trigger. Ask yourself, what state of mind was I in when I took this trade? Was it calm, fearful, impulsive, bored? By identifying the trigger, you begin to map the patterns that lead to mistakes. Over time, you'll see that your biggest losses usually come from the same emotional states. Step 3. Extract the lesson. Now ask, what is this trade teaching me? Maybe it's patience. Maybe it's risk management. Maybe it's that you followed your plan perfectly and the market simply did what markets do. Every trade carries a lesson if you look for it. Step 4. Release the trade. This is the step most traders skip. Once you've recorded the facts, identified the trigger, and extracted the lesson, you let it go. Close the journal, step away from the screen, do something physical. Take a walk, stretch, breathe. This signals to your nervous system that the trade is finished. The chapter is closed. Here's why this protocol matters. Without it, your losses stack up not just in your account, but in your mind. They accumulate as shame and fear. And when that pile gets heavy enough, you start trading from desperation instead of clarity. But with the post-mortem protocol, every loss becomes neutral. It's just data, just feedback, nothing more. And that keeps your confidence intact. The truth is, professionals don't avoid losses. They master the art of processing them. They don't carry them forward. They don't let them infect the next trade. They learn, they release, they reset. So the next time you take a loss, don't spiral. Don't punish yourself. Run the protocol. Record, identify, extract, release. Because protecting your mind is more important than protecting any single trade. And once you master this, you'll stop fearing losses
and start using them as stepping stones to mastery. In the next section, we'll take this even deeper. We'll explore a complete framework for reshaping not just your trades, but your entire psychology. I call it the reality architect method, and it's one of the most powerful tools I've ever discovered.
Section 15. The Reality Architect Method. Up until now, we've uncovered the lies, the sabotage patterns, the hidden traders inside you, and even the shadow of money trauma. We've talked about rituals, protocols, and identity shifts. But here's the real question. How do you put it all together? That's where the Reality Architect Method comes in. The Reality Architect Method is about taking conscious control of your psychology and designing the trader you want to become. Instead of reacting to old programming, you architect a new reality, one where consistency and clarity aren't forced, they're natural. Here's how it works. Step 1. Awareness. You cannot change what you don't see. The first step is radical self-honesty. Every time you trade, you observe yourself as much as you observe the market. Notice the thoughts that come up. Notice the urges. Notice the moments you want to break your rules. This awareness is like shining a flashlight into a dark room. The shadows lose power when you see them clearly. Step 2. Identity design. This is where you stop asking, "What should I do?" and start asking, "Who do I need to become?" Write down the qualities of your ideal trader identity: patient, calm, detached, abundant. Then practice embodying those qualities even outside of trading. When you design your identity, your actions naturally follow. Step 3. Emotional rewiring. Every trade triggers emotions: fear, greed, doubt. Instead of suppressing them, you rewire them. For example, when fear arises, you don't fight it. You pause, breathe, and anchor back to your new identity. Over time, the old triggers lose their power. Your brain literally rewires to associate trading with calm instead of chaos. Step 4. Ritual integration. Rituals are the glue that holds everything together. Your 15-minute morning ritual, your post-mortem protocol, your worthiness ritual. These aren't side habits. They are the architecture of your new reality. By repeating them daily, you reinforce the new identity until it becomes second nature. Step 5. Feedback loops. The market gives constant feedback. Wins and losses are not judgments, they are signals. Use them to refine your identity. When you follow your plan, celebrate the identity win, not just the financial one. When you break your plan, don't spiral. Simply note, "This is feedback. What does it reveal about my identity?" Then adjust. That's the method in a nutshell. Awareness, identity, rewiring, rituals, and feedback. When you combine these 5 steps, you stop living as a victim of your old patterns. You stop playing the game of fear and scarcity. You stop fighting yourself. Instead, you step into the role of the architect. You consciously design who you are every day. And as you design yourself, your trading transforms, not because you forced discipline, but because discipline became who you are. So ask yourself, are you living as the trader your old self built? Or are you ready to become the architect of your new reality? In the next section, we'll explore the shadow side of trading, the parts of yourself you've been avoiding, the pieces of your psychology you'd rather deny. And I'll show you how to integrate them instead of letting them sabotage you in the dark.
Section 16. Integrating your trading shadow. Every trader has a shadow. It's the part of you that you deny, suppress, or pretend doesn't exist. The anger, the greed, the fear, the desperation, the jealousy when you see someone else winning, the rage when the market turns against you. You tell yourself, "That's not me. I'm disciplined. I'm calm. I'm rational." But then one day, the shadow slips out. You double down on a losing trade. You blow up an account. You scream at the screen like it betrayed you. And afterward, you ask yourself, what just happened? That wasn't me. But it was you. It was your shadow. Here's the truth. The shadow doesn't disappear just because you ignore it. In fact, the more you resist it, the stronger it becomes. The shadow feeds on denial. And when you bury it, it controls you from the dark. This is why so many traders sabotage themselves. They spend all their energy trying to be perfect, trying to suppress fear, greed, and ego. But instead of killing those emotions, they just drive them deeper. And when pressure hits, the shadow explodes. So what's the solution? Integration. Integration means you stop fighting your shadow and start listening to it. Instead of saying, I shouldn't feel greedy, you say, I notice my greed. What is it trying to tell me? Instead of saying, I shouldn't be afraid, you say, I notice my fear. What is it pointing me toward? When you bring the shadow into the light, it stops controlling you. Here's a simple practice. At the end of each trading day, take 5 minutes to write a shadow journal. Ask yourself 3 questions. First, what emotions did I feel while trading today? Write them down without judgment. Fear, anger, pride, greed, whatever they were. Second, what did those emotions make me want to do? Did they push me to exit early, to oversize, to chase? Acknowledge the urges. Third, what can I learn from this? What is my shadow showing me about my deeper beliefs? Maybe your fear shows that you still don't fully trust your edge. Maybe your greed shows that you're still attached to proving yourself. When you do this consistently, your shadow stops being an enemy. It becomes a guide. It reveals the parts of you that need healing. And here's the paradox. The moment you integrate your shadow, its grip loosens. The fear doesn't disappear, but it no longer hijacks you. The greed doesn't vanish, but it no longer drives you. The ego doesn't fade, but it no longer runs the show. Because the truth is, the shadow is not evil. It's wounded. It's the younger version of you, still trying to survive. And when you integrate it, when you say, I see you, I hear you, I understand you, you reclaim the energy it was holding. Integration doesn't make you perfect, it makes you whole. And wholeness is the foundation of mastery, because when you show up whole, the market has nothing left to expose. It can test you, it can pressure you, but it cannot break you. So the next time your shadow rises up, the fear, the greed, the urge to sabotage, don't fight it. Face it. Integrate it. Because that's how you stop being ruled by the trader in the dark and step fully into the trader you are meant to become. In the next section, we'll talk about your future self and how to build a direct line to the trader you are becoming so you can start trading from that identity today.
Section 17. The Future Self Protocol. Up until now, we've been focused on breaking down the old trader, the fear-driven, impulsive, shadow-controlled version of you. But here's the real key to lasting transformation. You can't just destroy the old identity. You have to step into the new one. That's where the Future Self Protocol comes in. The idea is simple. Instead of trading as the person you are today, with all your doubts, your fears, and your baggage, you begin trading as the person you want to become. You borrow the mindset, the habits, and the energy of your future self, and you let them guide your decisions right now. Think about it. Imagine the version of you 5 years from now, the trader who has mastered patience, the trader who manages risk effortlessly, the trader who doesn't get rattled by a loss or addicted to a win, the trader who built consistency and wealth, not by luck, but by identity. That version of you already exists, in potential. And the more you align with them today, the faster you bring that reality into existence. Here's how the protocol works. Step 1. Visualization.
Every morning, after your breathing exercise or morning ritual, close your eyes and picture your future self trading. See the room they're in. See the calm way they sit. Watch how they analyze the chart without rushing. Imagine how they feel inside, steady, focused, detached. The clearer the vision, the stronger the pull toward becoming that trader. Step 2. Embodiment. When you sit down at your desk, ask yourself, what would my future self do in this situation? Would they chase the setup? Would they break their rules? Or would they wait? This question interrupts old patterns and aligns your behavior with your new identity. Step 3. Anchoring. Pick one small physical action that symbolizes stepping into your future self. It could be putting on a specific watch, sipping from a specific mug, or even writing one sentence before you trade. I trade today as my future self. This anchor creates a ritual bridge between who you've been and who you are becoming. Step 4. Review. At the end of each session, reflect. Did I trade it as my old self or my future self? Don't judge, just notice. Every time you choose your future self, you strengthen that identity. Every time you slip back, you simply learn and reset. Here's why this protocol is powerful. The brain doesn't distinguish much between imagination and reality. When you repeatedly visualize and embody your future self, your nervous system begins to adopt it as normal. The old trader weakens, the new trader grows, and before long, the gap between who you imagine and who you are disappears. The Future Self Protocol is not about perfection. It's about direction. Each day, each session, you take one more step toward becoming the trader you know you're capable of being. Because the truth is, your future self is already waiting for you. They're watching. They're saying, come join me. Step into the identity that's been yours all along. So the next time you face the urge to sabotage, pause and ask, is this the choice my future self would make? And then let that version of you take the trade. In the next section, we'll take this idea even further into the realm of connection. We'll talk about quantum entanglement with the market and how your state of mind literally shapes the reality you experience.
Section 18. Quantum entanglement with the market. You've probably heard the term quantum entanglement. In physics, it describes how two particles, even separated by vast distances, can remain connected. When one moves, the other responds instantly, as if they're linked by an invisible thread. Now, what does that have to do with trading? Everything. Because when you step into the market, you're not just looking at charts. You're entering into an energetic relationship. Your thoughts, your emotions, your state of mind, they don't just influence you. They ripple into your decisions, your timing, your risk management. And those decisions entangle with the market itself. Think about the last time you traded in fear. Maybe you cut winners short or exited early because you couldn't handle the pressure. The chart didn't change, you did. Or think about the last time you were overconfident, chasing wins because you felt untouchable. Again, the chart didn't force you. Your state of mind shaped your experience of the market. This is what I mean by quantum entanglement with the market. The market is a mirror, yes, but it's also a partner. The energy you bring in influences what you see and how you act. Calm energy reveals clarity. Chaotic energy creates confusion. Fearful energy makes setups look scarier than they are. Greedy energy makes every candle look like opportunity. Here's the crazy part. Your state can literally change the outcome of your trading session before a single candle moves. Why? Because your mindset decides whether you follow your plan or sabotage it. Your mindset decides whether you risk smartly or recklessly. Your mindset decides whether you stay patient or force action. In other words,
Your inner world collapses into your outer results, just like in quantum physics, where observation shapes reality. So how do you use this? Step 1 is awareness. Before you trade, check in with yourself. Ask, what energy am I bringing into the market right now? Am I anxious? Am I calm? Am I desperate? This simple act of noticing shifts you from unconscious entanglement to conscious choice. Step 2 is alignment. Once you notice your energy, align it with the trader you want to be. If you're anxious, breathe. If you're greedy, ground yourself in gratitude. If you're overconfident, remind yourself of humility. You can't always control the market, but you can always calibrate your energy. Step 3 is intentional connection. When you open your charts, take 10 seconds to silently declare, I trade with clarity. I trade with patience. I trade with abundance. This isn't woo-woo. It's programming your nervous system. It's setting the tone for how you'll entangle with the market that day. Here's the truth. Most traders approach the market like a battlefield. They fight it, fear it, or try to conquer it. But the ones who last, the ones who thrive, treat the market as a mirror and a partner. They understand that what they bring in is what they'll get out. So remember this, you are always entangled with the market. The question is not whether it's happening. The question is, are you entangled unconsciously, letting fear and chaos drive, or consciously, bringing calm and alignment into every trade? Because once you realize that your inner world shapes your outer results, trading stops being about prediction. It becomes about alignment. And alignment is where consistency lives. In the next section, we'll talk about the infinite game, the only game in trading that is truly worth playing. And once you see it, you'll never look at wins and losses the same way again.
Section 19. The infinite game, the only game worth playing. When most people step into trading, they think it's a finite game, win or lose, profit or loss, green day or red day. And for a while, that's how it feels. Every trade feels like it matters. Every win feels like a victory. Every loss feels like a defeat. But here's the truth. Trading is not a finite game. Trading is an infinite game. And if you treat it like anything else, you'll burn out long before you ever succeed. Let me explain. A finite game has a clear beginning and end. Sports are finite. Chess is finite. Even most careers are finite. You retire and it's over. But an infinite game has no finish line. The point of the game is not to win, but to keep playing. Trading is an infinite game. There will always be another trade, another market cycle, another opportunity. You cannot win trading in a day, a month, or even a year. You only lose the game when you quit, when you blow up your account, when you burn yourself out, when you walk away broken. This is why so many traders fail. They treat trading like a finite game. They want to get rich quick. They want to prove themselves today. They risk too much, they chase too hard, and they sabotage their future for the illusion of winning right now. But the masters, the ones who build wealth and freedom, they know the secret. They're not here to win today. They're here to stay in the game forever. And that changes everything. When you play the infinite game, a loss isn't the end. It's just feedback. When you play the infinite game, a win isn't a jackpot. It's just a step in the journey. The emotions flatten out, the ego quiets down, and patience becomes natural. Here's the paradox. The less you need to win today, the more consistently you start winning over time. Because you're no longer desperate, you're no longer forcing trades, you're no longer gambling with your future,
just to feel good in the moment. Instead, you're building something lasting, brick by brick, trade by trade, month by month. So how do you step into the infinite game? It starts with one decision. You stop measuring your worth by single outcomes. You stop asking, did I win this trade? And you start asking, am I becoming the kind of trader who can play forever? That's the real scoreboard. Not your P&L today, not even this month, but your longevity, your growth, your ability to still be here, stronger and wiser 10 years from now. Because when you embrace the infinite game, trading stops being about money. It becomes about mastery. It becomes about identity. It becomes about the person you are becoming through the process. And that's the only game worth playing. So ask yourself right now, are you chasing wins in a finite game? Or are you building yourself for the infinite game? Because if you choose the infinite game, everything changes. Losses become lessons, wins become confirmations, and the market becomes a lifelong mirror of your growth. In the final integration, I'll give you the 10 laws, the ultimate principles that bring everything together, and one final choice that will determine your trading destiny.
Final integration, the 10 laws and your ultimate choice. We've reached the end of this journey, and now it's time to bring everything together. You've seen the lies, you've faced the shadow, you've rebuilt your rituals, you've touched your future self, and you've glimpsed what it means to play the infinite game. But wisdom without integration is just noise. To truly transform, you need laws, anchors, principles you can return to every single day, especially when the market tests you, when emotions flare, when the shadow rises. So here they are, the 10 laws of trading psychology, the laws that can carry you from chaos to clarity, from sabotage to mastery. Law 1. Identity is greater than strategy. Your results are the reflection of who you are, not just what you know. Law 2. The market is a mirror. It does not punish or reward. It only reflects your inner state. Law 3. Discipline is not the cure. Discipline is surface level. Identity is root level. Change your identity, and discipline follows naturally. Law 4. Losses are tuition. Every loss is feedback. The only real failure is refusing to learn. Law 5. Wins are neutral. A win doesn't make you a genius, and a loss doesn't make you a fool. Both are just data points in the infinite game. Law 6. Rituals build reality. Your habits shape your nervous system. Your nervous system shapes your decisions. Your decisions shape your destiny. Law 7. The shadow must be integrated. Ignoring fear, greed, or ego makes them stronger. Facing them makes you whole. Law 8. Humility protects wealth. The moment you feel invincible, you're in danger. Ground yourself before the market humbles you. Law 9. Abundance attracts consistency. When you stop chasing, money starts flowing. Patience is wealth. Scarcity is sabotage. Law 10. The game is infinite. You don't have to win today, you just have to stay in the game tomorrow. These are not just ideas, they're laws. Laws that don't bend. Laws that don't care about your excuses. The only question is, will you live by them? Because at the end of the day, trading is not about charts. It's not about strategies. It's not even about money. Trading is about you. Who you are when no one is watching. Who you are when pressure hits. Who you are when the market exposes everything inside you. And now you stand at a crossroads. One path leads back to the old trader, the gambler, the shadow, the fear-driven self who keeps sabotaging, keeps chasing, keeps burning down every chance at success. That path is familiar, comfortable,
but it only leads to more pain. The other path leads forward, to the new trader, the architect, the integrated, grounded, abundant self who plays the infinite game. That path is uncertain. It requires courage. It requires letting go of who you've been. But it's the only path that leads to freedom. So here is your ultimate choice. Will you keep playing the finite game, chasing short-term wins while slowly destroying yourself? Or will you commit to the infinite game, the only game worth playing? The market doesn't care which path you choose, but your future self does. And if you're ready, if you're truly ready, then declare it right now. Comment infinite below, not just as a word, but as a vow. A vow that from this moment forward, you are no longer playing small. You are no longer trading from fear. You are stepping into the infinite game. Because in the end, the greatest trade you will ever make is not against the market. It's against the old version of yourself. Choose wisely.